now. It's Wednesday night. It's the only place that you need to be. It is the Metal Summit. We love the Metal Summoners. That's you guys. You're spending your nights with us. As always, we are your islet of misfit toys. As always, we've got Angel. We've got Jason. We've got Psycho Steve. We've got Bobby. I'm Jay. But the fact of the matter is, it's not about us. It's about this guy. Enough's enough. Drummer extraordinaire, Mr. Daniel Hill. How are you, brother?
I'm really good, guys. How are you?
We're doing good, man. We're doing really good. First and foremost, man, thank you so much for taking some time out of your evening.
Thank you guys for having me here. That's I said this before our talk, but it's always good to get some FaceTime with people. So.
Absolutely, man, for sure. So we pretty much kind of have to, we'll start things right off, pretty much as a lot of people would expect. And this is a very unprecedented time for music. It's never happened before. The whole world kind of got thrown into flux, turned upside down. Exciting things that were happening that then got canceled. We touched briefly off the air about, as far as you come into my area, you guys were going to be a precursor in Maryland to the M3 festival this year. So a lot of things got canceled with that. So talk a little bit about what you had going and how you've been keeping yourself occupied over the last 8 months.
Yeah, it's been 8 months, seems like a year already, but I mean the last show that we did was in Australia. So we had done that gig, and we were supposed to be going to the UK and Italy right after that, and this is early March. So we were supposed to be doing that, and then of course all of this kind of came down. So we ended up canceling all of that and then came back, right? So in the interim, I suppose would be I'm producing a lot, I'm teaching a lot, I'm playing on other people's stuff a lot. That's kind of been like the rub, but it's been wonderful. I'm very grateful to be working as much as I am right now, and it's been great, man. Like it's a lot of cool stuff coming up, and if you guys want to hear about any of that, I could speak to a few things. But
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just briefly, I have 3 country tracks in production, or 2 country records, and another thing that I have to do after I get off the line with you dudes. So I've got to do something for it's like a sync pop country track. But yeah. I have, it's cool. It's a ton of fun. But I have a EDM project that is going to be dropping next year that I'm very, very excited about, with one of my really close friends, producer friends, and I won't go more into that until that comes out. And then, of course, just teaching a ton, remotely, of course, so, yeah, and I got a female singer-songwriter I'm doing some stuff with, mixing drums for other people, that sort of vibe. So it's great, man. So, something new every day sort of thing. So it keeps it pretty interesting, I would say.
Absolutely, man, for sure. And overall, has yourself and your family been able to stay healthy with everything?
Yeah, man. I was, not to get into it, but for the most part, yes. All the way, not all the way though. We've all kind of dealt with this in our own respective ways. All of our families have gone through something during this time, whether it be on the up or on the down. So the word for me would be like, thank you, healthcare workers, for all of your hard work during this time and your continued work during this time, because you guys are legends, for keeping us all safe and healthy. So, but for the most part, the answer is yes.
Right on, man. Absolutely. Yeah. And before I kick it off to the team, the other thing that we definitely need to bring up is because also during COVID was the release of Brainwash Generation. You're in about 6 months into the release of your newest album with Enough's Enough. Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit about how it's been getting that out to the world, how the fan reception is going to be, because you also did play on the live feeds of the Monsters of Rock cruise, so you got to play some of those new tracks live.
Sure. So I played on 4 tracks originally on it. Dax Nielsen's on it, and Mike Portnoy's also on it. I'm sure you've heard that from Chip, but I played on 4 tracks, one of which actually didn't make the record. Which is interesting to me in the way that like I'm excited to hear that again at some point, down the road. But yeah, I mean, Dax honestly did the majority of the legwork drum wise on that record. Of course, did a fantastic job. So, in terms of the writing of that record, it was similar to Diamond Boy in the way that Chip kind of demos everything out, and then we kind of jump in, or whoever's going to jump in on the record jumps into it. So, as far as like putting out a record during a very upside down world time. I don't really, do you release music now, sort of thing, or like not, or do you, everybody's got their own vibe on it, but yeah, in the future here, like over the next few months, I'm sure we'll be playing the single off of it, and yeah, I mean it's a cool record, man, and a lot of great drumming on it from other people. So I always love that to hear everybody else's perspective on those tunes. So it's cool, but we'll see.
Right on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when it came to the Monsters of Rock thing, that just had to be nice just to kind of get back behind a kid, even in a semi-live situation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're kind of all in the same boat, sort of deal. So I mean, whenever you can play, it's a wonderful thing. So, yeah. So I mean, I'm sure like in the future we'll be playing the single, the Fatal Distraction tune, and maybe a couple other cuts off of that thing. But you guys know the drill. Like I mean, like we're Enough's Enough is an opening band. So like if we do a headlining tour, we do a headlining tour and we play at $130. But for the majority of like the bigger stuff, it's 45. So you're slamming out the hits. But so we'll probably be able to get in like a couple of things. Maybe we'll throw a few things in, but I'll defer to the band leader on what those will be. So
Sure thing. Absolutely. Yeah. Bobby, let's bring you in, man.
So I'm going to flip it out a couple things. You and I were talking gear and, this and that. So you're being from Chicago. You mentioned before the show who your endorsers were, one being Mapex. And I asked you, why? Why Mapex? I mean,
yeah.
So if you could elaborate a little bit on that, because the story was great.
Yeah. So Mapex has been really, so to speak, sort of they kind of saved the day on the road when we were on the Jack Russell's Great White Tour. So just to briefly summarize, I was talking to a few other people about some drums for that tour, and ended up hooking up with one of my guys from a place called Mike's Drum Shop in Chicago in Villa Park. And he's like, hey man, like we've got to get you going on with Mapex, and we can get something out to you. So, and this is without getting into the precursor of all of this, the whole shenanigans. We had basically 3 days to find something.
Yeah.
And the Mapex guys were so epically cool and so epically like understanding of the situation that they, our first show was the Whiskey in LA. So they ended up shipping a kit out to LA for me, and this was the day before the show. So the day before the tour started, and I needed a drum set. So the kit showed up on a 50-foot FedEx semi with nothing else in the semi other than the pallet of the 3-piece you see behind me here. So that was awesome. I mean, I was building that thing the night before in the dining room of the Grafton, which was awesome. You got like the cooks like running by and stuff like that. Like, and I'm just like screwing in lugs or tension rods. Like, it was fun. It was like it was scary for a minute, but it was also it's one of those moments. You know what I mean? Like you remember that kind of stuff because it's like, oh my God, I was almost not going to have a drum set, and Mapex saved me. So, and to speak to the gear for a minute, I don't necessarily want to harp on gear because it's gear, but the quality of that stuff on the road, it's like bulletproof. Like it's a Saturn V kit, but it's like a bulletproof set, and sound dudes love this thing. the reason why they love it is because it has, the kit has a rounded bearing edge, so you're not getting this traditional 45 kind of overtones you would normally get in something else. So it's great, man. It's consistent, which is the first thing, which is the most important thing when you're out for months. You want to be able to set something up in a pinch and hit it, and it's like a few small little tweaks, and you're good. You don't want something that's going to take you forever to get set up. It doesn't work that way. Like, it's if you're the headliner, you got somebody else doing it for you. But in our case, it's just us, just rolling through. And hey, like I gotta unpack this thing, load it up, set it up. It's gotta be close, because if it's not, you don't got time. You don't got time to sit there tweaking stuff. It's not, you just don't. So it's great. It's been consistent. It's been wonderful. So that's my long-winded explanation of saying thank you, Mapex.
Very cool.
Yeah, they're great. They're awesome dudes. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Psycho Steve, first and foremost, happy Hanukkah, brother. And
Happy
it's all
Hanukkah,
you.
bro.
Thank you.
Heck yeah, man.
As he's eating Scrapple.
Damn straight. And I had
Yeah, dude.
what I have the other day. Pork belly, which was freaking fantastic. That was really kosher too. It was
Fat Jew.
Ah,
Fat Jew.
really- yes.
yeah, dude.
So,
You look
so-
good, by the way. Have you been exfoliating?
Exactly. Yes. I'm a little svelte. See that?
Looking good.
Thank you. So are you, Bubby. Okay. So the question is, I've already interviewed you before, but I've never asked you, were you an Enuff's Enough fan before you actually auditioned for the band?
Two-part answer to that question. Yes, was a
Okay.
fan. Secondly, did an audition. Showed up on the road and as a sub and
Wow.
without a rehearsal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn,
Could you
dude.
elaborate? Could you tell the story?
Sure. Brief synopsis, so nobody watching is like, oh, this story again. But I was on the way to a gig on a boat, believe it or not, with my drums loaded on a ferry on the way to like a party island to play a show. Got a phone call from Tony at the time. Tony says, hey, man, like we might need somebody to fill in. Our drummer at the time couldn't do it. I said, sure, dude, like totally fine. Like I'm game. So learned the songs and showed up on day one, and you got to know the songs. So I did. And then we played the tour. That was the last tour I think Tracy did before they got back together as like the official LA Guns. So yeah, just, showed up, played the songs, and at the end of the tour they said, hey man, like you're going to be the new dude if you want to be a part of this. And I said, yeah, of course, man, like it's going to be awesome. So that's kind of the short version of that, but sub gig turned into the full-time sort of deal,
Right on.
but yeah, no rehearsal or any of that, or audition or any of that stuff. It was kind of like, hey man, we got a situation on our hands. And I knew Chip years previous by playing in some local stuff, and Tony by doing sessions, and they kind of knew my playing already. So they kind of like Tony connected the dots basically and said, hey, give Dan a call, and grateful for him for doing that, because it's been it's a lot of fun. So yeah.
Okay, to piggyback off of that question, one more.
Mhm.
I just want to know, do you have a favorite Enuff song
Song? Oh
to
god.
play?
I mean, how many records? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I mentioned this before to you guys, like we have a good problem, and the good problem is that there are a lot of good material to choose from. So I don't really have a favorite per se. I don't really have a favorite anything outside of pizza. But but yeah, I mean, it's I love the stuff from I would love to play Blue Island live. There's a lot of stuff that would be wonderful to play live, but yeah, Blue Island I love a ton. I love that record, all the classic stuff from Strength and Self-Titled, like all that jazz. But I don't know. There's so many good tunes. So I don't really have a favorite, but that's in a good way. It's just like there's a lot of good stuff to choose from. So
Nice.
Definitely not a bad problem to have by any means.
yeah,
Jason, it's all you, brother. Let's bring you in.
come on.
Hey, Dan. So,
Hi, bud.
drums. Now, was that your first instrument and only instrument, or do you play anything else, or
I started playing drums when I was 3. Just kind of like pots and pans kid, everybody else's story that's ever played drums, right? At a young age, kind of just like started taking Tupperware out of the cabinet and hitting it with things. So my parents, and full credit to them, said, "Oh, he might be a drummer." So they bought me one of the little, small drum kits, and then I bashed through that. This is every other drummer story, right? Like, you've heard this a million times by so many people, but that was my story. Just went through it, kind of graduated to the bigger kit, graduated to like the real kit, did a middle school drum solo, and man, was I nervous, but like that kind of, and it was awful too, but like it kind of like springboarded me into like the, okay, maybe I can do this. I have some confidence now sort of thing. As far as playing other instruments are concerned, I play piano. I would never call myself a piano player. I would consider myself more of an orchestrator than I would a piano player. So when it comes to that instrument, I had a lot of experience with that when I was younger. I took piano lessons and whatever, but none of that really means anything unless you can apply your knowledge that you have in something, right? So, but I did. So I play piano. I would never consider myself a piano player. You're not hiring me for a gig on piano yet. Maybe in the future. Not yet though. So you're not that. So I would never consider myself that. But I also play piano. So that's the majority of the stuff that I do now is orchestration, and of course all of that stuff is done through virtual instruments via piano, right? So those are the two.
cool?
Nice. Right on. Absolutely. For sure. Angel, it's time to bring you in. How are the fans doing? The Metal Summoners and the Enuff's Enough fans.
A lot of love from the fans, especially for Cycle Steve's hat.
Oh, well, come on now. Where can we get that hat, and where can I get that hat? Most importantly,
I have your address. I'll mail you one.
oh man.
You just have to wear it and tag me in it.
Oh, shoot. Yes. But it's your website? It's on your website right now, or what?
I honestly.
Oh, it's just like it's a one-of-one exclusive, like only for you.
Exclusive, yeah.
Just like
That's
I am.
awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How creative.
There's literally one Metal Summit hat. There's one Metal Summit T-shirt. There's
Cool.
one Metal Summit mask, and there's one Metal Summit battle vest in existence right now.
There's a battle. Where's the battle vest?
That's me.
You have it right now? I'm not gonna
Yeah.
ask you to get up like from the interview, but like I want to see that. That's awesome.
No.
I'll definitely show it to you.
That is epic. Well, I mean, all of you guys got to obviously have that, like, when you roll Tide out
Of
to
course.
a event, a soiree, all wearing the battle vest. That is dope. Love it, dude.
That's how you know it's us.
Yep.
Yeah, man, that's right. Rolling deep out to the
Adele.
out to the martini bar in the battle vest. I love it.
Well, we just want to say hello again to Star Peters. Thank you for joining us every week. Carla Rice, Kim Sullivan, you rock, you kick ass. Thank you for joining us again. Rick Bershuk, if I messed up your name, my apologies. Blame it on Cycle Steve. Senator Vaughn, welcome. Sean Lambert, welcome. Rick, thank you for watching.
Sean Lambert.
Yep.
Whoa, man. Hi, Sean Lambert. That is a blast from the past. Cool. I love him, man. What a good dude. Go on. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's your show, dude. We're all here for you.
We're all in it.
Whatever the hell.
We're all here together, man. Like I heard that name. I'm just like,
If you
whoa.
want to do a drum solo, play music loud, whatever the heck you want to do.
No, I'm not.
If
Man.
you Cycle Steve's hat, we'll get that for you.
Well, no, I mean that's 101. That's the OG thing. When he starts shipping those things out, it's got it's V2. You sell that, coming down the road like a year from now for some cash money. So
That's
keep that for you.
Star Peters has a very good question. The best show or venue that you've played so far, and is there a place that you haven't played that you would like to play?
Yes, Red Rocks, please.
Nice.
Bucket list for sure. That is number one bucket list for me, as far as venues that I would like to play that I have not played. I am optimistic that I will play it at some point. I don't know when, but I can feel the vibe there. It's what a gorgeous venue, and there are so many people that have talked so highly of that place, and that is one. Favorite venue that I have played, again, sort of like, what's your favorite, whatever. But there are a ton. We talked about TLA earlier. Love TLA. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful spot. But I mean, obviously, as you guys know, it's really just about people at the end of the day. So I have a lot of good memories and a lot of great venues. So when we did the Bullet Boys tour, all the House of Blueses really are put together and just wonderful people that run that. All the guys from Live Nation that run that are amazing. So, yeah, a lot of great memories. I don't know that I have a favorite, but there are, could talk to you for another 2 hours about that was awesome. But I won't digress too far. So
He's like, D-bats.
yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. Trying to keep myself contained.
Greg wants to know, Dan, do you get a contact high just by walking?
Oh, this is
by
hilarious.
No. That's amazing.
I know I fucked up the question.
That's hilarious. That's fucking awesome. Let's go.
That's a fucking great question, Greg.
Great question, man. Whoever asked that question gets a fucking goddamn gold star. It's great.
Gold
no.
star.
It's a fucking gold star for that shit. But answer is no.
Man,
here's contact high talking to him on the phone. How the fuck you don't get it by walking by him?
Nah, Chip's a good dude, man. He's
absolutely
awesome.
So go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. It's all right.
Derail the entire. We're gonna go there, but yeah.
Hold on, before I get to my next question.
Yeah.
No. Oh.
Love you.
Shadow. Of course.
Everybody, cheers and beers.
Hey, if you're
doing it, we're doing it safe from our own homes. We're not driving.
No.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
How did Shadowcat recording get started? How did that come together?
Yeah. By necessity. When this whole thing started, obviously live music right now is not a thing. So my predominant income as a musician was derived from A, teaching, and B, being on the road. So I've done a lot of production stuff in the past, and I had to shift gears quickly and efficiently into doing this more full time, as far as the production stuff is concerned, and as far as writing for other people, and it's been super insanely rewarding. But the answer to your question is by necessity. I needed my own space, and I needed my own thing to be able to kind of expand into where I originally wanted to expand, but this this whole situation in the world and in music and everywhere else kind of provided that opportunity. So that's kind of like the silver lining of all of this, right? For me anyway. Got to be able to expand. So necessity is the answer to your question. But it's been wonderful, man. I've gotten to work with a lot of people that are uber insanely talented, and that's always a pleasure to be able to interpret their vision, so to speak, and to build stuff. So really enjoying that. So yeah, hopefully that answered the question.
Yep, of course.
Yeah, man.
I like the name of it.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's I was on a run, just running around my block, and I'm just like, that's it, that's the name, Of course, I play in a band called Enough's Enough, not exactly the greatest name of all time, for but who cares? Literally, who cares? What you
Right.
call who cares what you call something? Like, it's really a matter of like how you present it, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the same thing. I'll tell people, like, you could sing the lyrics, my ham sandwich was awesome, but if you sang it with intention and like meant it, it would mean something totally different. So anyway, it was just one of those things that kind of just like popped into my head. I'm like, okay, like gotta just, because when I get something in my head, I've tried to enable myself to facilitate that vision outward, meaning that like if I get a name in my head, I'm able to like create the logo and like all of that stuff that I do, so like I created the logo and it was like, oh yeah, that like works, and then I'm just like, okay, like I'm in the middle of building the website right now, but time and stuff. But
I got a fan that wants to send you a lot of love, and this is from Eric Lindman. I met Dan.
He's great, man. Yeah.
He said, I met Dan 3 years ago, seen him play 4 times with Enough's Enough.
Yeah.
Truly a genuine person, will sit and talk with you after a show. One of the best people I have had the pleasure of meeting. Can't wait to hang out again.
Like right back to him, man. He's a wonderful dude, man. Yeah. And that's the beauty of what we do, you know what I mean? Like I get to hang out with you guys. Like this is awesome. So like that's the beauty of this whole thing, is just like we just get to like hang and just talk and it's I wouldn't have known any of you dudes like if it hadn't been from just through playing music. So really excited to continue doing that outward again in the future. So again, thank you dudes. Like really great to like see your faces and hang for a minute.
And thank you, Eric. Thank you for supporting Dan. Thank you for tuning in and supporting TMS. We really appreciate you.
He's a
But
wonderful
also,
guy.
like you were saying, Dan, the one thing that's kind of funny what you were talking about when it came to names is like I've heard this in other interviews, I've heard this on other shows, but also it's just kind of a common knowledge thing. When you kind of look back at music, there are some bands with some pretty god-awful names, but they've been around for 30, 40 years and put out 50 albums.
For sure.
You can't really hate on the name when they've got such a catalog.
Yeah. But I mean, well, that's like, again.
Enough qualifies for that. I mean,
well,
like,
I mean, yeah, but
like,
for sure. And I know that name, like history-wise, went through a few changes, but also who cares? You know, you can call it whatever the hell you want. You can call it
macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, for sure. You can call it that. Like, but
my band.
It's really about like, you can get into the entire semantics of like, okay, I want the name to match the vision, to match the music, that whole wormhole, right? Which is stuff that I think about all the time. But also, like, there's the other end of the spectrum, and I try to like remain cognizant of that. Is that like, who cares? Like, who cares? Like, that's the other end, right? It's just like you can call it whatever you want as long as like you're presenting it in a way that's like meaningful to you, and like the songs mean something, which are obviously the most important thing. Like, then it doesn't matter literally at all. Like, who cares?
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
Bobby Dreyer representing the Philadelphia Flyers Olaf there tonight, man.
Oh, man.
Let it go, man.
Go on with your bad self.
I'll go do Naked Snow Angels in a bit after a couple more cocktails.
Oh my God.
Oh, you an angel.
Let's do it. Yeah. Put that on TikTok.
So, the touring band, everything. So you talked about the production end. So what projects outside of your comfort zone have you been doing?
Well, if you're not outside of your comfort zone, you're doing something wrong. You know what I mean? Like, so oh God, wormhole. Let me try to reel this in. The stuff that's let me just think about my answer really quick before I start ranting. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to like do that. But I don't know that really anything's outside of my comfort zone, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that any like music that I'm working on is foreign to me, because it's all stuff that like I've heard and I love, but I'm just interpreting it in a different way.
Yeah.
So I don't know that like the thing that's outside of my comfort zone. I don't know. I think it all becomes
Somebody hasn't presented to you, look, I think
yeah.
it'd be good, and you go, dude, I don't know.
Yeah, sure, and valid point. I think that like my job for me and the way that I see things personally is that I hear things inside, like I hear things as an orchestrator, and I hear a song inside of a song. So like if somebody presents me an idea that may not be like the greatest idea ever, the way that I interpret things is like my job is to bring their vision out of whatever they have it currently existing. So that is what like I love that process. It doesn't make me it's the unknown, so to speak, right? But you just have to go to wherever the song's going to take you. And obviously I'm viewing that through my lens, like as to like my skill set and as to like the way I hear things, which is like literally any other art ever.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like that's you could bring that outwards, if you're a painter, or you're a dancer, or you're a whatever, it's all the same thing. We all view art in our own respective lens. So I suppose if you want to get into like the unknown or the uncomfortability of stuff, I live on that. Like that is something I love. If I'm uncomfortable, I know I'm doing something right. So that's just me because I know I'm expanding outward. Um, so that was like a long-winded answer, but hopefully
That
that
works.
hopefully that made sense. So I'm basically taking uncomfortable things and using that as fuel to create something more and something better.
Very.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For sure. Psycho Steve, the man with the hat. Let's bring you in, dude.
Okay. Since I've seen you, you've gotten more tattoos. What was your first tattoo? And
Yes,
do you have any
tattoo
tattoos?
talk.
Yes.
Yes.
Friday, I'm getting another one.
I love you, dude. That's
I
an
need
awesome
one.
question.
And do you have any tattoos that you regret?
No.
Okay. So what was your first tattoo?
Can't live in regret, man. That's not a thing. Like
Come
if you
on, ex-girlfriend tat.
No, dude.
That's
That's
me.
what tattoo.
I'm the idiot that did that.
Yeah.
Oh, Angel.
Yeah, well, isn't that like though like the stock? Like that's stock for people. They say like, "Oh, do you regret that?" And for me it's like, "No, I did it at a time that it was very meaningful to me and it meant something." So, whether that be through tattoos or otherwise, like that's just a moment in time, you know?
Right.
Like so the answer to that question is no, I don't regret any of that stuff, but did I get tattooed recently? The last time I was tattooed was 2 years ago in Georgia. So I haven't been tattooed for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
on.
And
Yeah,
what was the tattoo?
Oh, it's this. Like your standard issue, swallow, but like that was actually that was like a group tattoo session with Alex Kane and Tony, because that's when Alex got. Or no, actually, you know what? He didn't get. He was supposed to get his Rick Nielsen tattoo that day, but he ended up not doing it. I think, if my memory is correct. Tony ended up getting some stars on his arm, so it was kind of like a group tattoo, like fun thing. We're on the road, like let's go get tattooed, fuck yeah, sort of thing. It wasn't like any like event or anything like that. It was just like, oh man, like I don't need to get into the history of the nautical swallow by any extent of the imagination, but I'm also not military, so like, and by the way, like, thank you military, but like, it's it's kind of the I've traveled a little bit now, so I can get one. I've traveled 5,000 nautical miles, so therefore I can make this happen. So, kind of like it was like a little bit of a badge for me at the time, like I guess it was like 3 years ago. So, just fun moments. I got like this one when I was on the Ace Frehley tour, the owl and stuff. Like, but everybody's got tattoos, man. Like these days, but like it all is like it has meaning to you in some way, as to like whether it be like, cool, this is a fun tattoo, which are oftentimes the best ones.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that's just like whatever, I'm gonna get Mr. Peanut on my leg. Like that kind of stuff. Like that's like the best thing. Not everything has to be like insanely meaningful, like rah, super serious. Like, so I don't know. I feel like those are the best ones. The stuff that's just like, this is awesome. Like I'm just got a wacky, like crazy idea. Like I'm just gonna do that. Like
Dan, please get Mr. Peanut holding a set of drumsticks.
Fun fact, I can't do that, and I will like for the first reason, one of my friends actually has Mr. Peanut tattooed on him, and he's allergic to peanuts. And that's why he did it. And he's got like the whole cane and everything else like that. Hilarious. It's just absolutely hilarious.
Is it monocle?
The whole thing, dude, like just ridiculous. But that's fun. You know what I mean? Like, what else is there other than just like having some fun with that sort of thing? Doesn't all need to be like super meaningful. Like, I don't know. I think that's like a misinterpretation of like what that's all about. You know what I'm saying? Like, and by the way, cool cat. Nice shadow cat you got there.
Oh yeah,
I was thinking the same thing.
Dude, Angel will tell you, dude. That's my cat's name, Motley. Motley has a fan base, man. And any episode that's related to 80s rock, he has to get FaceTime.
You know what? I have a cat around, like a stray cat around this studio that I'm at, and it just walks around and it'll look at me like every like a couple of days. So I'm just like, got it, sweet. Like, all right, I'm on the right track.
Absolutely, brother, for sure. Jason, Mr. Pearlswag, it's all you, my good dude.
Man, what a good-looking guy. Jeez.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
All gray.
It's the air.
Yeah.
Or the lack thereof.
Nah, dude, it's all about that. It's all about that.
I'm gonna turn into
Man,
Gallagher.
you guys are. God, I feel like I'm like a Zoolander. All you guys like over here. Crazy.
So Dan, who did you look up to when you were in your early stages of drum playing, and did you ever get an opportunity to meet them?
Sure. So, I looked. I mean, man, big thing there, but great question, and thank you for that. I feel like this is important for like, and I'm sure this question will come along in the more time we're on this call. Like as to, do you have any advice for young people, sort of thing, even though I'm technically a younger person, whatever. But like, I looked up to the people around me, and that is still what I strive to achieve is maintaining relationships and like literally hopefully being crushed into the dust by people insanely way better at me than I'm trying to like achieve. So to circle back to your question, like, who did I look up to? Obviously I had, we all have influences, and like, you derive your skill set like around the things that you're listening to at whatever point in time, right? So if I were to name an influence like at an early formative stage, it would honestly just be the people that I was playing with. Like, even though I was listening to a lot of records and the stuff that was popular at the time, because that's what everybody literally does. Like, whenever you grow up, the stuff that you end up loving is the stuff that you listen to because that was your environment. Mm-hmm. That is literally the same universally throughout and you grow emotionally with that, and you become connected to that music because of the fact that was a place in time, sort of like tattoos, like not to like draw the line, like or connect the dots there, so to speak. But when I was growing up, I listened to a lot of different stuff. It was a lot of jazz. It was also a lot of punk rock at the same time, which are completely opposite ends of the spectrum in many ways. But if I were to say that there was somebody that I looked up to, like I grew up playing with people that were signed to major labels that were around me, to like, to Jet Records and stuff like that. But yeah, I just looked up to the people that, connected with me, meaning that like, if I'm going to name an influence, like everybody that I play in a band with kind of knows this, but like Phil Collins is one of my big things. Like, what a legend Phil Collins is, and I'm sure there are some people out there like, get fucked, but like you guys don't even know that guy wrote hits inside of hits inside of hits inside of hits. Like that guy was the real, and still is the real deal. And of course, he's got his son playing drums for him now, and he's also great. But it was a lot of that. It was a lot of man. I was listening to like the pop punk at the time, man. So it was like I was like really big into like the rudimental, Travis Barker stuff.
Love
Weird,
Travis.
which is weird.
Absolutely.
But like that was just like a moment in time. It's not like I don't listen to Travis Barker now, and I don't listen to that stuff now. But it was like it formulated like my opinion on certain things now, and I'm glad I learned that subset like rudimentally because he comes from that world. So like, and of course, you go way back. You've got your Bonhams and your Mitch Mitchells and everything else like that, but they're all based in jazz anyway. So then you get into then of course Clyde Stubblefield and like name a name sort of thing. It's can of worms there, but to answer your question succinctly, and I didn't mean to like go down that whole thing. I just have to like think it out as I talk. But yeah, man, like I feel like the most important thing for me was mentors that I was around that told me what not to do. That was the most important thing. And it wasn't like any specific band that I was listening to. It was more in line of like, okay, dude, like don't make this mistake. And that's basically, it's a subset of why I teach, but like, and I love it to death, by the way, like a ton, but yeah. So I would say the people around me, just blues cats in Chicago,
No.
It's a long answer to get to the point. Sorry.
Nah, dude.
It's all right.
I
I just
can
want to.
speak a little. Oh, please,
Oh,
Jason.
no, sorry. I just want to piggyback on. You mentioned Phil Collins.
Yeah.
Have you ever attempted singing while playing drums?
Oh man, who's getting arrested? That's awesome. I love that. Somebody gets arrested on air, you get mad points. You get
Yeah.
chocolate chip cookies in the mail for that. The question one more time. I'm sorry. Like
you mentioned Phil Collins, and I was curious if you ever attempted singing while playing drums.
Oh yeah, I mean sure, but I would never consider myself a singer. Like I can hear pitch. I have like when it comes to there are dudes that have perfect pitch. There's relative pitch and perfect pitch, right? So like I'm a relative pitch human. If I hear something in my head, that's why I have the piano. You know what I mean? Like have I ever attempted it? Sure. We've all attempted the, a front flip off a diving board. How you land is a different story. But you know what but that it's practice, man. Like it is a serious skill set, and a lot of drummers that I'm sure you've heard interviews and that have mentioned this exact thing. Scott Coogan told me this one time actually, and Scott said, "Do you sing?" And I said, "In the shower." And he's like, "Fucking work on that stuff because it matters." And he's right. He is 1,000% right. There are some things that I'm doing now that I'm singing harmonies on. I can build the harmony part. Like I'm cool on that. When it comes to singing like a lead vocal and playing drums, you've got a handful, and literally a handful of dudes. You can count them on one hand that can do that well and have it, Dean being one, and then Journey Dean, and then you've got Coogan being another one.
And then Carrie from Night Ranger.
Totally. Like Roger Taylor kind of had it, but and you know what I mean? Like Roger Taylor was a songwriter, like Queen's Roger Taylor, wonderful, but I wouldn't like Ringo's whole thing too. Like if you get into the Yellow Submarine stuff, like I don't know that Ringo is a singer and he's wonderful, but I don't know that he's a singing drummer sort of thing. So like I would consider I can name 5 probably. There aren't many that can do it well and have it be meaningful. Like as to why you need you ask the question, like, does this guy actually need a mic back there, or is it just creating noise for front of house? That's the question, right? Like, is it meaningful what you're doing? Like, do those harmonies need to be there? If so, and they're a necessity in the music, duh. Like, let's go. Have it there. But are you just doing it to, like, do it? I don't know. That's situational. But for me, I'm not at that point yet. That's a skill set I need to develop and really, any skill set like in that world, like you got to be serious about that sort of thing. Like, but that's just not, for me personally, that's not my wheelhouse right now. Can I sing and hold a tune and find harmony? Yes. Do I do it live, and do I want to really put the time in that's necessary in order to do that? That's not in my top 5 things to do right now, sort of thing. If that makes sense. Psycho Steve is frozen in time. He's like Han Solo.
Gotcha. So, Psycho, if you heard that, check your camera, brother, just so we can make sure everything's good. Before I kick it to Angel, I just kind of want to make a little side note on what you were saying, Dan, for sure, because when it comes to, like, drummers that also, like, can harmonize a bit, I want to give some love to Chad with Faster Pussycat, because he really does
there's
a great fucking job.
Another one. Dude, there's another one. He's great.
But I also wanted to bring up what Jason had started with and what you were commenting on as well when you were talking about Phil Collins. You were like, well, I'm sure there's some people that's going to hear like a rock drummer and stuff like that with Enough's Enough saying like, God, Phil Collins and whatever. Well, look, my dad was the one who got me into like the rock stuff. He's the one who got me into like Aerosmith and Dire Straits, 10,000 Maniacs, and Genesis. So if a fan's going to hear you say Phil Collins and get their feathers ruffled, well, by the way, fuck you then. This show's not for you. And second of all, my mom is not a rocker by any means, but she saw where I was going, and I always give credit to my mom because she brought me up on like some jazz and a lot of classical. But my mom also gave me my first Queen album and my first Zeppelin album.
Totally, man. Well, yeah, dude. Powerful mother figures. I have one. Like, she is like one of the best like superhuman people on literally the face of the planet. So yeah, I mean, obviously how you grow up and like you're all of us are the sum of our influences. Like that's literally called life. That's the synopsis of life in general, right? Like the sum of influence. Like whether it be good or bad. All of that shit matters though. So, but yeah, you're totally right. You're totally right, man. That's awesome.
No, 100%. Angel, let me kick it up to you, buddy. How are the fans doing?
Oh, they're doing awesome. Joy Casada, thank you for joining us.
Hi.
I know I had one question. Let me see it. Oh, here it is. From Star Peters, what is the most fun band you've had? I'm sorry.
Hit me. Come on, man. Let's go.
Just blame it on the vodka.
Blame it on the drugs. I got you,
nope.
Man. Hey.
Okay.
I love that song.
Oh, what she meant to say was, what is the most fun band you had touring with? The most fun band.
Oh, like as far as like tour mates are concerned? Is that what they're asking?
Yeah.
I'd say, I mean, everybody in my band's pretty fun. Like, they're all like really good dudes and like to go out and have a good time when appropriate. But as far as other bands are concerned, if I'm going to name drop bands, like we've had support by a band, they're called Pump 5, before, like in Europe and otherwise, and they're all really fun dudes. Like, they're great. There's like, like we're hanging out here, it's how you would hang out at the bar or otherwise, and that's really like the key. So I love those guys, and that's just, I'm talking about like support. As far as national guys, like I can name names, but we just all hang out like you would do like with your friends. It's literally it. Not like anything like fancy or anything. Like I don't know that I have like a specific band that's like, that's the band I want to hang out with right now. But if Deanna gets in here, we can have a whole nother conversation. Where's he at?
We'll have to see if we can get him into. But
Yeah.
dude, we got to give some love to the fact that Joey Licious though came in on the episode. Joey Casada, thank you so much for watching, brother. We appreciate
Hi, buddy.
Yo, what's up, Joey?
What's up, man? Dude, that's what's up. Cool.
CO2 in the house, baby. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Angel, let me keep it with you, man.
Sure. My question is, if Enough's Enough come to you and ask you which cover song you would like to play live, if you had to pick a couple of them, even, which ones would you love just to play live?
Did I just see Dan's head explode?
A cover song?
A cover song. Yeah.
And we're talking about that.
Enough.
We're talking about that band specifically. Like Enough's Enough as a band. Like, what song do I want the band that I play in to cover? Is that what they're asking?
Yeah. I think a non-Enough's Enough song. Like if there was a song that they were like,
there's a song that you would want to.
Yeah.
Right.
Taxman for sure.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Nice.
And there's the reason that I want to do that is because the arrangement's already in my head. Like, it's a whole nother story. But like, I would love to do that song and just like crush it. You know, I'm not gonna bang on my desk, but you know, they have a swing. You know, boom, ba ba doo ba ba boom, ba ba doo ba ba. That's kind of the feel they have in that tune, right? But if you straighten it out, kind of go boom, boom, ba 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 boom, ba doo doo bang, you straighten that thing out, it's a fucking monster.
That just like sounded like superstitious.
Oh, I mean, Stevie Wonder. Again, you know, giant. Talk about drummers that can sing. There's the one on the list, right?
Dude.
How do you warm up before a show? Because we know that some drummers, again, because you know people think that being a drummer is such an easy thing. Just get behind a kit and you just play drums, not knowing that over time, right? So, is there like any warm ups that you do before a show? Or
I can give the real answer, and I can also give the yes, you should always do this, the teachy answer. No one wants to hear the teachy answer. So it's dependent on the amount of time you have and where you're at. That is the answer to your question. Do you have time in the hotel room before you get to the gig, or do you have time in the green room, and what's the green room situation before you get to the gig? Do you have time to just find a space and do it? Ideally, yes. I'd love to just run singles at a slow tempo. Hi, Kat. Hi, Kitty. I love it. I would love to be able to do stuff at the beginning of a show. For me, does it always happen? No. It's situational. So, but stuff that is very slow tempo, like 60 BPM or under, like methodical, slow, for me, I need to bring my heart rate down, right? And that's the reason why I play slow. Everything that I play in Enough's Enough, like during a live show, is to a click. So I feel like that centers me, right? Slow tempos center me. I can breathe and just like get away from noise if possible. So my warm-up routine usually is me exiting a room and like having my own space, because that's important. You guys all play. You guys know that. Like, you got to get your head in your own space before you do what you do. And then when you get up there and it's a whole different thing, right? This light switch turns on and then showtime sort of thing. But for me, warm-up routines, do I have a methodical warm-up routine? No. If I had an option as to choose one, it would be alone in a room at 60 BPM with my own thoughts. That would be my warm-up routine. I feel like that's important in itself, meaning finding a space to literally bring your heart rate down. Because, you know, not everybody plays shows to a click. The click can keep you inside of the lane. You know what I mean? Like one day you're amped. One day you're really, really tired after 8 hours of traveling. So that matters, right? So my warm-up routine, to answer your question, is being by myself, ideally with a practice pad, playing singles at 60 BPM. That would be it. but it's more of a mental game than it is a warm-up game. You've warmed up this is what Victor Wooten would say. You've warmed up your entire life for a gig. It is important to like get muscles moving mechanically, because drumming is such a physical instrument. But like, and you go out there, you're throwing haymakers if that's your gig or not. But it's more here than it is here, really, like for anything. So I think finding your own space is important for sure to answer that. Like, not necessarily what you play, but where you are and where your head is before a gig.
Absolutely, 100%.
I just
want to jump in real quick, Angel, if you don't mind. It's about the top of the hour, so I just want to give a little bit of love to the sponsors and endorsers of the show, the guys that support us and show us love that we really, really appreciate. Bradley Entertainment, for always being behind us and being down to work with us, especially when live music gets going together with the shows that they're putting out. We want to thank Levy Metal Enterprises, Custom Guitars and Stage Props. Levy, we appreciate you, man, for getting with us at the ground level. We want to thank TMS alumni, Mark Hall and Lizzie Borden, Janet Romano from being involved with us as well and doing the attire for some of the members of the show and being guests of the show as well with their entertainment and musical backgrounds. And then, of course, we also want to thank Saren Cadaver, Horror Decor out of Rhode Island, the Twisted Vines Company. We thank you guys so much. Anybody who wants to be involved with us, please reach out to any or all of us. We are definitely down to bringing people in to build with us as we build ourselves. So we definitely really appreciate you guys as well. You're just as important as all of you guys, the metal summoners that come and watch us every single week. So we thank you guys so very, very much.
Yeah. That's a huge comment, man. I mean, anybody that watches the show now or in the future is like, we all get to choose how to spend our time. So hopefully that, something that we've all said and touched on is meaningful. And that's really, really kind of the key here. Like, as to somebody, anybody that watches, there's so many interviews online, man. Like, you guys do this every week, like, so hopefully we can all like get together and maybe come up with something that's meaningful for everybody. So that's just me saying that, like, I'm really grateful for you dudes for having me here. So thank you.
Thank you, man. No, absolutely.
It's our honor to really have you on, because like I said, this is what we love doing, talking to musicians,
man,
sharing stories, all that stuff. And for the fans, it's a good chance to come in, ask questions as well, and just show love and appreciation.
Dude, Psycho Steve got totally arrested, right? Like, that's what's going on.
He had to
he's totally rolled. He's done. He's out.
He's in touch. In theory, he'll be back. We'll see if he gets out of Skype jail.
Oh, man.
Or what's going on.
That's awesome. That you hear the sirens and then he's like frozen in time. That's so epic.
No, totally. But you're definitely right, Dan, because we really appreciate everybody for sure. I mean, we've got people like Star, like Kim, like Matt, who have been followers and fans of this show from day one and have been very, very supportive. And even if even if we only have the same three people watching the show, I mean, we do it for you, Dan, for your bands, for that stuff, and for the fans. I mean, again, 2020 was a very unprecedented, unexpected situation, and we lucked out that we decided to do this show leading up to what was going to be the M3 festival of this year. And then when the whole live music went away, it really gave us the opportunity to like really buckle down and realize that we were putting together something pretty special. And we're in it to win it, man. And we appreciate you being a part of it, man.
Dude, like, of course, man. Like, you guys, like, just providing the platform to do it, like, is obviously like the first step. So like, you guys are, just getting FaceTime with people. And I think like literally just being human beings right now at this point in time, like, where we're at is probably the most important thing, like just literally having the conversation as you would, because we aren't, we're just not getting that. You don't see anybody, it's the holidays. So again, to everybody out there that may listen to this in the future or now, like, happy freaking holidays. And like, You know, hopefully you can derive some joy out of like some maybe anything we said or goofing off or whatever in this interview But like,
absolutely.
you know,
We take everything we do very seriously, but if you haven't figured it out, there's a whole lot of goof to this show.
well, dude. Well, like why take everything seriously though? Like, I mean, like, yeah, like you obviously take your
life is
craft
short.
seriously, but like, for sure, like, it doesn't always have to be like all game all the time. Like
Definitely.
that hurts inside for sure. That doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good at all.
Brother. But hey, Dan, let me reel us back in a little bit, brother. And
Yeah.
the question that I wanted to hit you with, kind of stemming off something that you mentioned earlier with your influences and your drumming influences. Talk a little bit about when you actually started playing with bands. Like, did you play when it came to like, did you play in like some pop punk bands and stuff like that? You definitely got musicians that have now, like for yourself, you've landed in a traditional, 30-year, 80s rock band.
Yeah.
But talk a little bit about when you got into bands originally. Were you in punk bands? Were you in pop bands? Were you in country bands?
I mean, before I joined Enough's Enough, like, I was gigging, man. Like any working musician plays gigs. Like, so whether that be a cover gig or whether that be an original project, the thing about, my own personal thing is like in that world, like I always need to have something that's like my own thing that I'm working on, whether that be, playing drums in a band or writing my own stuff or like what have you. But when I was coming up, I played again, like with my friend, like that's what you do. Like you have friends that are probably in your middle school or your high school and you form a band because you all like get along and stuff. And then you play the music that's meaningful to you and to everybody else for X, Y, and Z reason because it's a part of your culture. It's part of your little tiny thing. Whether that be Zeppelin or like a bigger band or whether that be like, a Dead Milkmen cover band, which if there was one that existed, I'd be all over that show.
That is amazing.
I'm going. You know what I mean? But you basically have 40 minutes of music. You play the same set every single time, maximum.
It's like going to see a Sex Pistols cover band. It's one album.
For sure. But like everything is like boosted 20 BPM or more from the record. So the show is 15 minutes anyway, and you played 40 songs. Anyways.
Dude, that's what you got out of the Ramones. You got like 35 songs in like 19 minutes.
Oh, dude, for sure. Like, I mean, yeah, they were in, out, fucking, here's the hits in 20 minutes. See ya. See ya. So to answer your question, the people that I played with when I was growing up, obviously we listened to a lot of that stuff like System of a Down and like harder rock and like everybody had their own influence. But the thing that really kind of turned the page was a band called The Faint. Do you know who that is?
I do.
So really electronic rock kind of stuff started coming into form like in the late 90s sort of deal. Like, of course, you had your Incubuses and your stuff of that world that I was really like. All the Morning View stuff was like I was a really big fan of that. Like putting your boombox in the driveway and jumping over your dad's garbage can with your fruit boots on, sort of thing. Like with a bass booster button pressed in. Like that was like a thing. Like we all skated. Like all my friends were skater people in one form or another. But so I guess like the answer to your question is that like, sorry to say like, but hey, thinking. But the stuff that I grew up with that really turned the page was bands like The Faint and bands like I'm a Robot, Edward Sharp's project before like the Magnetic Zeros ever existed. So it was a lot of electronic rock stuff for me that really, that and of course, it's just a hodgepodge. I can go all day on this. Like I was a huge Dream Theater fan. So being on a record with Mike Portnoy is a whole thing. Like I blew out every speaker in my Ford Windstar listening to 12 Degrees of Inner Turbulence and Glass Prison. Like that was a thing. Sick. You know what I'm saying? Like it's, 13 minutes of just, get fucked basically.
Yeah.
So I had one speaker left by the end of that record, and that record got stuck in my CD player, and I had to get it out with a rusty knife to be able to put something else in. So, that and Rush. I was into prog rock for a long time, but, I was a big Neil Peart fan and big hero of mine. Like, watched the 2112, 2112 DVD all the time. Like, that was it.
Oh, hell yeah.
With the drag, or that in Russian Rio. Like, that was like a huge thing. Like, I would listen to that on repeat for hours until my eyes got bloodshot, and fall asleep on the couch. That's what we did. Like, that's what we all did. Like, I'm, in some degree or another, right? Well, fell asleep listening to our influences. So yeah, they're all over the place, man.
Oh, no, for sure. And Bobby, pick it up right after Dan's comment. But yeah, I love the fact that you brought up the Faint, dude, because like with that whole electronic rock of the late 90s, because we actually had Ryan Shook and Amir Darak as earlier guests on an episode of this show.
No kidding, man. That's awesome.
Who were original members of Orgy.
Yeah, well, dude, you think about them and the Prodigy, like that was when parental advisory stickers were a thing. Whoa. But it was a thing though. Like, of course, like I'm just speaking to like literally my upbringing, but our neighbors had the Prodigy record. We couldn't listen to it though. How dare it was so dangerous to listen to the Prodigy and get on your skateboard. But like it's crazy. But like that was it though. It was like, oh my God, I want to listen to this music. I gotta go across the street, sort of thing. Because their parents don't give a fuck. But But yeah. But yeah, dude, like all of those bands like were huge and huge in my kind of like microcosm of like becoming a musician, I guess,
For sure. Absolutely. Well, Bobby, smack your bitch up, baby, and get in here.
Dang. That's heavy.
Bobby, turn your mic on.
That was a good one.
Your mic is off.
My mic is off?
Oh, you're back.
Fire starter.
I like it. And by the way, that background is so like I'd love to look at that like all day, every day. That's great, man.
So I gotta ask.
Yeah, man.
Fruit booter? You were a fruit booter? God damn it! I'm a fucking skateboarder.
Yeah, he is.
Dude, I'm being honest with you, man.
I got something for you to wax on.
Yeah. No, for sure, dude. Like I started skateboarding and I had some World Industry boards and some blind boards and stuff like that, and like it just didn't work. Probably because I just sucked too much. So, you know what I mean? Like it just didn't click. And a lot of my friends would like
76.
Yeah, man. But I was all like USD'd up, like K2'd up, like just bring your K2 and USD stuff to the park and just try to jump.
Hated you guys. We're like,
of course you did.
You and the scooter guys. It was like,
that was that was later. That was after like fruit booters came along, like me. But like, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a community, like for whatever, and that was like the most important like part of all of it, it's just like having fun mostly. Of course, there was always that like internal war, like, oh man, there's that guy in that scooter. That was the whole thing. That's how skateboarders still feel about anybody on Fruit Boots. But like, and totally fair enough. More power to your opinion. Like I love it, but we had fun, man.
Yeah, it was great because, like you said, it was that whole period of the 90s. Well, everything changed. Even the music. I mean, grunge was coming out.
Yeah.
Then you had, oh, shit. Who was the guy who did the whole thing himself?
The whole thing himself. You're talking about Dave Grohl right now?
No, not Grohl, too. That's
kind of did everything himself
That's
after
who I was thinking. Trent Reznor? You talking about Trent Reznor?
No, you can take my picture. Hey man, nice shot.
Dude, that's Filter.
Filter, yeah.
Which is funny because that was that's Patrick, who used to be in Nine Inch Nails with Reznor.
And you know who else? You know who he's related to? The guy in the Terminator.
The guy from
2.
Terminator.
Terminator, yeah.
That's his brother.
Yeah.
Well, dude, like Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are some of like that's like, if you talk about songwriting duos and
Oh,
guys that have actually
amazing.
accomplished a vision, those are two dudes that I look up to a lot. They are wonderful and forward thinking and
Well,
just wonderful musicians, and Atticus,
and
man.
you got Danny Elfman from Oingo Boingo, who just is
I
fucking
almost just fell over. So like Danny Elfman is like, if you're gonna ask me the question, if you don't, I'm cool with that too. But like when it comes to composers, like yeah, Danny Elfman has composed like some scores that are just astronomically important in modern music.
Think about it,
Totally.
all the, Pee Wee's Big Adventure, classic songs that you sit there and we all take for granted, but it's, stuck in your cranium that you could sit there and hum, while you're in the bathroom.
Sure, I mean, like, it's a dead man's party. Like, talk
Dude,
about a song. You know what I mean?
It's
talk about Oingo Boingo.
Christmas season. A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Danny owned that shit.
Yeah, dude. Like,
that's like a sore dick. You can't fuck with it. Like, dude.
I'm out.
No. I'm getting that on a shirt.
Writing on that note.
That's my new shirt.
But dude, but yeah, man, like you're like Jay is fucking like right on the money, like with that, like B-52s were like a big influence in my world, like in the same Oingo Boingo stage. Like both of those bands, like man, and look at all of Josh. Speaking of drummers, Josh Freese. You just mentioned 9 Inch Nails, and then you've also got, every single other thing he's done. He was very heavily involved in that world and still continues to be. And what a great drummer, man. Just his influences and his interpretation of the art around him. Wonderful.
Well, then we can go into a whole different realm, art of noise.
Yeah.
Ministry,
yeah.
It's that.
I'm just talking about like Devo, you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. Like
and it was great. You got to figure when all that was even changing, and who I look at is when the Cars came up, and we talked earlier before on air. Clem Burke. Clem is Blondie's drummer, just
wizard,
amazing, fucking wizard. Phenomenal guy.
Totally, man. Like
Slim Jim Phantom. I mean, there's just guys who could do shit that you just.
Yeah, man. Like that. Then you get. Yeah, I mean, you could just go forever. I think that the if I were to like get a point across here for anybody that's listening to this that may or may not be an up and coming drummer, is that please have some influences. The thing that I see a lot now is that there is paralysis through majority of choice. Meaning you can listen to any song from the last 500 years or more of recorded music on the internet. And there are people out there, and I'm not speaking to anybody in particular, but people that I teach sometimes don't have influences anymore because they're like, I don't even know where to start. Right? So, I don't know. Like, that's so huge. Like, we got lucky in a way. I hate the word luck. So we were fortunate in a way. Let me rephrase my sentence. But we were fortunate in a way to have that microcosm that we grew up in, right? We all grew up in a community of whatever we listened to that meant something to us. And whatever that was, it was meaningful.
Well, the cool thing about it, to interject here.
Please do.
Your heroes, if you really want to know how your heroes do, look at their heroes. Go back to listening to, Charlie Watts and go, well, what would Charlie listen to? Oh, wow.
If anybody's listening to this interview, listen to what Bobby just said, because he is dead on the money. That is a huge point, and I'm glad you said it. So, love you, thank you. That's huge, man.
But you go backwards. You go, like we all brought up our parents. Look, there was shit. I grew up listening to Mamas and Papas and early Porter Wagner and early part of Dolly Parton and this and that. But then it was the players that were, these were the Swampers and fucking T and the MGs, and shit like that and stuff I listen to now, and I'm going, oh, I get it. Growing up watching fucking Hee Haw and then seeing, I'm going, I really can appreciate Nashville for what Nashville is.
Dude, you're so dead on the money there, man. It's unbelievable. That's something that I've literally said, and you just said it. So I will say no more. Listen to your heroes. Listen, I don't have anything to add. I don't have anything to add to that because that's truth, man. Like you're speaking truth to power there. That's beautiful, man.
But it's really cool. You wouldn't be able to play who you are if it wasn't for, our ghosts of the past and everything.
Right. For sure. Yeah, you're dead on. Keep going.
Absolutely.
That's it. Like that's the vibe. That's it. Like there's nothing else to be said.
That's the same thing you just tell your students. Look, do you want to know? Ask your mom and dad. What do they dig?
Sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, the best way
it's going to get you.
Yeah.
The next job.
For sure. I mean, the thing that you said that Matt, that is the crux of the issue is that listen to your heroes' influences and understand where they came from. Learn the history. History is very insanely important, and I'm not.
And again, your hero
can
be your parents. Your parents, Sure. Look, we all thought our parents were weird at one time, but weird. They listen to shit now that I kept going.
Listen. We're all a little bit weird, okay?
Absolutely, for sure. Bobby, let me jump in right quick, buddy. So as we kind of get everything fixed up, we're going to go through another final kind of round of questions for you. Dan, do you still have a few more minutes with us?
Yeah, man. I'm worried about Psycho Steve, man. Do we got to call 9? You got to call 311 to check on.
That's all right. Whatever officer picked him up, they'll let us know.
Hold on. There's a breaking news. He got picked up by a police officer with double D's. He's been booked for the hat. They have confiscated his hat and everything. What a lucky son of a bitch!
Damn, that's a.
I want to get arrested by a female officer. Any female officer with big titties.
Stand by.
Come and arrest me.
Here we go. Okay.
I'm always breaking the law.
Jay,
yes?
I have a few more minutes, my brother. Anything you guys want to ask, man? We'll hang here all night.
Absolutely, for sure. Also, Dan, when we do go off the air, stick around for just a little bit longer because I want to ask you something.
Cool, man.
But Jason, I'm going to kick it up to you, brother, so you can chime in on this, man, because it's definitely your time and it's all you.
So, Dan,
yes, sir.
Outside of music, if you weren't doing the music right now, what do you think you'd be doing? I know it's kind of hard figuring out an alternate universe, but was there ever a road that you almost went down where you didn't go down the music journey, or and if so, what would that be?
You said this. I heard an interview from last week that you asked this question, and the answer is that thank God that I didn't have to go down that road. That was the answer to that question, and I thank God I didn't have to find out. My answer is a little bit different, same vein, different answer. It's something that I love, therefore I will always do it.
Very cool.
Okay, that's very well said.
Psycho Steve just got me back. The power went off. I said,
"Oh man, he's got the snow going on." That's crazy.
I asked him. I said, "Vibrator?"
Yeah, I was thinking that to find power.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah, he's fine. No, the power.
Somebody get him a flashlight.
He said, "Yeah, he has a vibrator."
That's good. Good enough.
I knew that.
Dude, this interview went way off the rails between sore dicks, vibrators, and double D titties. I mean,
we did our job, everybody.
I got him the
Fantastic.
vibrator last Christmas.
It's all about the influence.
It's all about the influence.
Fantastic. But it's real though. Like, this is how anybody would normally talk in general. This is how you would hang out with your friends. It's not, you wouldn't have here's my question and here's my answer. Like, come on, man. It's not like real life. That's not real.
Yeah, dude. And Dan, that's 100% the way that this show is formatted, dude. This is a social distance version of if all of us were sitting around a living room just drinking and talking.
Dude, we're
a bunch of 14-year-olds in a bedroom.
Well, I mean,
exactly.
We're just all like fans of something. You know what I mean?
Yes, we are.
So
What it
I
is.
don't know, but like to get back to Jay, it's the answer to your question is like I'd always be doing it because I love it. There is nothing else that will take me away from it because that is what I like. It's not the life motto or whatever to get serious about it. It's like I love it so much that I'm going to do it every single day because I love it so much. That's it. Like you do anything if you love doing backflips every day, you do backflips every day. Super sweet, awesome. But that's literally anything. That's like anything. If you loved brewing coffee or brewing beer, you'd brew beer every day because that's what you loved doing. Like, of course, we all have to make our concessions in the actual real world, but you still come back to what you love because that's what you love. So that's why I do it. You know, not
Absolutely.
that complicated.
And speaking of people that we love, it's been a little minute since we've heard from the Summoners. Angel, it's all you all day, brother.
Well,
God,
speaking
he's
of
glowing.
drummers, we do have a drummer that has joined us, Lonnie Hammer. Well, he's a drummer and a
Lonnie!
singer.
Oh,
We love you,
man.
bro. Thank you for joining us.
Big hearts.
And he kind of he actually made a good point. We were talking about influences and knowing the history. Lonnie Hammer said Neil Peart idolized Keith Moon. Just kind of like an example
For sure.
of what we were talking about.
Dead on.
And he also asked, you sound northern. Where are you from?
I sound northern. Well, I'm a Chicago guy. Like if that's north, it's north. You know what I mean? Like, what's your latitude? And if I'm north of you, then it's cool. You know? I don't know. I'm a Chicago guy. If my Chicago accent comes out a little bit, I'm not gonna say my bad, just how it is.
Oh.
So my latitude is the Chicago latitude. So Google that, whatever that is.
I always sucked at science, so I would not be able to.
Yeah.
We got a question from Greg. Wants to know, what was your first concert?
First concert that I ever went to?
Yep, first concert you went to.
Dang, man. I don't remember. I have no idea. Like, some people are just like, my first concert was this. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, the first concert that was memorable to me that actually meant something was McCartney.
Nice.
Like, that was very meaningful for me. Or seeing Phil. I saw Phil in Genesis back in 07-ish, around there somewhere. That was insanely meaningful. I don't remember like my first concert I ever went to. My parents didn't bring me out to shows. I know that a lot of parents do that these days, and they did with their younger kids. Like, I went out to KOC shows, man. Like, that's what I did. Like, Knights of Columbus. That was the scene in Chicago. Like, I grew up in that. That's what we did. So you grew up around 504 Plan, Spitalfield, Fallout Boy. That was your scene. There was a big scene here back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. That was what you did. So you just hung out with your friends. You went out to the scene, and you hung out with your friends in bands in a gym, basically. Like, that's what you did. But it was a whole thing. It spawned a whole genre of music, So
Absolutely.
that was a big thing in Chicago back then. So that's what we did. I don't know what my first show was. Something, and that stuff, of course, was meaningful in its own way. But the first thing that really like Mike Tyson'd me was McCartney. And anybody can literally tell you the story about Ed Sullivan, which I was not around for. Kenny Aronoff can tell you that story. You know what I mean? I'm not the guy to tell you that story. I'll tell you the story that it's it all goes back to the Beatles, in some way, shape, or form. And I know some people, they listen to me talk about the Dead Milkmen, they hear me mention the Beatles in the same sentence, and they'll hate me. But whatever. I love them both. So
Not with me on this show, dude.
Yeah, I love them both, and I'm not apologizing for that either. But.
Bobby, we're gonna have to keep that in mind for when we get Mark Hudson on this show, because he'll talk about Ed Sullivan, dude.
Yeah, so my buddy Mark, I'll turn my background off. So my buddy Mark was Ringo's producer for 9 albums. And
yeah, man.
Mark wrote Living on the Edge for Aerosmith. He wrote The Reason for Celine Dion. He wrote a lot of big fucking... His daughter wrote Dark Horse for Katy Perry.
Wonderful. Great.
But on that, here's one thing I got to ask.
Yeah.
So you're at a gig. Nobody's asked you this. You feel your stomach gurgle. You're in the middle of a gig.
Oh, I like
What
this
do you
question. Let's go.
What
Yeah.
do you do?
What do you do?
Yeah, you
What
got
kind of gurgle are you talking about, man? It's
it's
the hungry gurgle, or it's the
No,
dang
he's
it.
talking
Or
about the
he's talking about the
gurgle.
dang it,
No,
like
it's
dang
one,
it
if I hit
mode.
that bass pedal one more time, there's a brown mark on the seat.
Oh man, dude, like that is the worst. Like the worst of all time, right? Thank God.
And
You
how
know.
keep your game face.
Yeah, well, dude, listen, man, we're all fucking human beings, bro. Like, but what do you do? You can't go anywhere,
You can't go.
right?
Not like you could sneak out like during a guitar solo or something and go.
So, you're not going. There's no confetti cannon, bass solo moment in the middle of our set. So, I mean, what I would say is that like get on a schedule and keep to it if possible, right?
So do you watch your diet before you go on stage?
Do I what?
Watch your diet before you go on stage.
Oh, diet?
Oh, I can't eat that because I don't.
Well, I mean, like to get real for a minute, like yeah, like I don't eat heavy stuff before I go on stage. If you're
Bobby,
eating
you're
a
hilarious.
giant if you eat a giant burger and like some fried chicken and you go on stage, you feel slow, duh, because your arteries are working pretty hard. So like I don't know, if I go on stage, if I eat something, it's 2 hours before the show and it's light. And then cross your fingers, I guess. I don't know. Like, I don't have IBS. That's what you're saying.
Well, I hear so
I'm good.
has there ever been a quiet moment and you farted behind the kit?
Usually it's other people, bro. Usually it's other people. I'm in the back, man. I get to you get the smellscape from the back. You know?
Bobby, you are out of control
He's not
tonight,
control.
dude.
He's right.
You
He's
are
right.
out
He's
of
right, dude.
control tonight.
That's important.
It's the
like, okay.
alcohol.
No, he's right though. That's real shit. Like, but like,
Yeah,
I
literally.
don't want to hear about real shit. Like, we're not like, that's fucking for real. But like, to answer your question, like in a serious way, don't eat heavy stuff before you go on stage. Don't be a moron. Don't do that because you'll be slow. Whatever you eat, energy in, energy out. It's the same concept. Like that's how it's going to work. So don't eat anything heavy. If you want to eat something heavy, eat something afterwards and go to bed. Like
I figured it out. That's why Zoltan Chaney drums the way he does behind Vince Neil. Vince eats heavy. He farts.
Last time
just to move the air.
Last time I seen Zoltan, he was throwing French fries at me.
Dude,
Not
that's
kidding.
fucking hilarious.
I'm serious. He was behind me. We opened for him in somewhere in like north, like Island Lake or something like that in Illinois. Like that's North Chicago stuff. Like it's not in Chicago, it's just North Illinois, really. But we opened for him and he was sitting behind me. He's like, "What do you got, man? Show me what you got." I'm just like, "I don't know. Like I'm just sound checking right now, bro." And he started throwing French fries at me. It was awesome.
Dude, that's hilarious. Angel, I don't want you or the fans to get cut off, brother, so I'm going to kick it back over to you before I go to Jason, man, and help reel us back in, dude.
We're gone now.
Damn.
That's it.
Listen. Damn, I'm almost out of alcohol.
Clear
That's
the
a damn shame. Okay. Yeah, man, I forgot my damn fucking question I was gonna ask, but it's gonna come back to me
Real
in
talk,
a
man.
second. Oh,
Real
yeah.
talk.
Okay, so here's my question for anybody that's
Yeah.
interested in hiring you as a drummer, as a producer, or is interested in taking drum lessons. How can they get a hold of you for any of those things?
Sure. DanielHillDrums.com. I'll say that again. DanielHillDrums.com. That's my website. I have a new website that's coming out with the whole Shadowcat thing, shadowcatrecording.com. Really, honestly, though, like the way you can reach me is just like DM me, man. Like like don't go through the whole website thing. Don't do that, please. Like, you can find stuff there that I do, like, and I try to keep that sort of kind of like regularly updated, like a few times a year. But just DM me on social media. It's at Dan Hill Drums on everything.
Right,
Like,
and with the drum and with the drum lessons, you do it like virtual, where they can do like a drum lesson the way we're.
Yeah, I mean, like whatever, like FaceTime, Skype, like name a social platform. Like I love teaching beyond belief, and like whether it be just the mental game or like physical, like facility and technical stuff. Like I'm happy to get into that, like lesson wise. That's why I hate talking about that stuff in interviews, because who wants to listen to somebody talk shop, technical chops in an interview? So you can like see a million YouTube views on like whatever, like people talking shop. But yeah, so if you want to get a hold of me, just go to at Dan Hill Drums on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on whatever, and just send me a message, and we'll just like talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's just like we're talking about here. Like I don't know why it has to be weird. Oh man, I'm gonna reach out to him. It's gonna be weird, but like you'd be surprised. You could reach out to. This is like a thing. You could reach out to like some of your heroes on like social media, and they'll get back to you. If you just DM them, like maybe you will, maybe you won't, but it's worth a shot because they're getting the message a lot of the time. Unless they're like Katy Perry or something like that. You're not going to DM Katy Perry and have Katy Perry be like, "Cool, you're awesome." Maybe she will, but like, and I'm not saying that's outside of the realm of possibility, but like most of the time, if you hit me up, you're getting me. Nobody else is like intercepting my message and interpreting what I have to say, for the time being, but
right on, dude.
Just DM me, man. Like, and we'll get at it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Jason, anything from you, my good dude?
So
it's late in the night for you, man. I know it's like we're getting there. I feel you, man. I feel you, dude. We've been sitting, man. I'm trying to. I'm with you, bro.
We're doing good, man.
I'm with you, bro. I'm with you all the way.
Are there any projects that you're working on or want to work on down the road that you could talk about?
The one, like, okay, I'll talk about a few if that's cool with you. I'll speak from release to I don't know when the heck it'll be released. The first stuff that I think that'll be released that I've worked on over the past few months is with Tori from Enuff's Enough. He has another project, and you guys all know Tori. He's a wonderful, brilliant songwriter. So if I were to characterize it as something, it would be like an Americana folk rock project that he kind of asked me to play some drums on, and I kind of ended up going ham sandwich, like production wise. So very, very cool project. So whenever he decides that he wants to release those tunes, like maybe before the beginning of the year, maybe not, I don't know. Very cool project though, like wonderful music, and he really outdid himself with those songs. Just really cool stuff. So looking very much forward to that. The second thing that I have to mention is this EDM project that I mentioned briefly at the beginning of the show. I can't name names right now. And I also can't name names in the pop projects that I have going on. But it's exciting, and it's not rock music. I used to tour in EDM, by the way, if you guys didn't know that. Like, that's what I used to do for a long time. So before I even joined in a rock band, you know what I mean? Like, I was playing in rock bands, but like before I joined Enough's Enough, I was in that world. Anyway, so really excited about that. That's going to be crazy different. And if people that are listening to this hear that stuff, they'll be like, what in the world are you doing? It may not necessarily be your like sliced pie, for sure, but it is a lot of fun. And I'm working on it with one of my really, really close friends who's a wizard producer that does a lot of wonderful things. So really excited about that. if you're into, you know, rail breaking EDM in the wheelhouse of Excision or stuff like that, that's what it is. Barn burning stuff. So amped, like very excited, and I won't go further. So beyond that, I have a trailer album that I'm working on for film, public release trailer album. So that'll come out next year. Really excited about that. Sorry to keep going. I've got like 7 albums in production right now that I'm like all equally excited about. But it's fun, man. It's diverse. I've got some singer-songwriters, you know, one country singer-songwriter that used to tour with Kenny Rogers that I'm really excited about. So I'm producing that all the way. But like I said, the stuff that's going to be coming out forthwith, the soonest will be Tori's project. I don't know what it's going to be called. You'd have to ask him. It's his project. He's kind of the brains behind the operation. I'm just lending some percussion to it. So, but it'll be great, man. He's awesome. So that is my 10-minute answer.
Very cool.
No, absolutely. Now we're going to get into the semi-dangerous part of the closing out, which is kicking it back to Bobby for a final question.
All right.
Let's go.
This artist you worked with that you just said never again. And you don't even have to give a name.
Dude. Are there artists that I've worked with that I said never again? Fuck yeah. The answer is fuck yeah. Yes. But like, if you want me to elaborate on that, we could all give like the.
No, it doesn't need to be a name, but can you give a reason why?
I'll never give a name. Like,
don't give a name.
I would never do that.
Okay,
but like,
what was what caused it?
Okay, we're all human beings on the planet. We can work well together or not. Like, whether it be good or bad. Like, we've all been a part of musical projects in our lives that didn't work out for one reason or another. Okay, like. We don't need to give an explanation as to why, because then it's a whole nother interview, right? So you know what I mean? That's a whole nother 2 hours of me sitting here talking about like why this guy was a jagoff or whatever.
No,
right?
All I'm saying is there that one thing going, dude, really?
So
I thought you were like the coolest person, and you're a dick.
Well, dude, like, listen, man, like, I don't know. That's 90% of the game in any industry is just being. Do you want to be the guy that you wake up to in Arkansas that's like the best guitar player in the world, but that is an awful human? No. Would you rather wake up next to somebody in Arkansas that's like a mediocre, like cool, like gets the part and nails it side guy that like does it and that is cool to hang out with later in the day for months at a time? Yes.
Absolutely.
Duh. Yeah. That is the game. Like, it's not complicated, but it kind of is, you know? So, but what is any industry, especially the music industry, other than the balance of ego, right? Yeah. In the minute, and like, whether, you know, we've all got it either, whether it may be healthy or unhealthy in certain times, and no one's perfect, including myself. But like, you know, that is the game. You work with like-minded people that are all trying to achieve the same thing. And another thing that I'll say about that is you're only as fast as your leader, too. The ship only moves as fast as the captain says, this is how fast the ship's going to go. And here's the direction. There are plenty of situations that I've been involved in that you got a captain with a blindfold on sailing in a circle. We all been there, man. Like, it's not nothing new, but, like, sure, you come across people that you don't work well with. My advice would be move on quickly and find people that are more aligned with how you think.
Yeah.
You don't need to get trapped, and you don't need to feel obligated. Move on.
Very cool.
For, you know, save yourself the heartache, right? Like, just do your own thing, feel your own vibes, be with your people, and make great shit. Right?
Absolutely.
Simple enough. Yeah.
100%. Very
Yeah.
direct, and it's exactly how it should be. Angel, before I wrap it, I want to kick it to you to see if there's anything final from yourself or the fans.
Yeah, well, I thought that was it for me with the final,
Nah.
the last part.
Man. Hey, man. I know. If anybody's got any, by the way, that shirt rules. I love that. I love that thing, bro. That is like, when'd you get that?
What shirt?
Your shirt, the
Oh,
Poison
Poison.
shirt.
Oh, I got it from Walmart. Jake's got a Poison shirt on as well.
It still rules. It's awesome. Yeah. But if anybody's got any other questions, like holler at me, man. Like let's do it.
No, for sure. Anything final from the fans, buddy?
Yes, Lonnie Hammer. I need some lessons.
DM me.
Oh yeah, he does have a question as well, Lonnie.
Yeah.
I just saw your question. I didn't forget, buddy.
Yeah.
What's your biggest pet peeve with other band members? Your biggest pet peeve with other band members?
I'm not gonna go.
Oh,
into that.
here's the chip
going into
question.
that. No, I'm not going into that, man. I can't go into that. Like, there's
Can't go where bread's buttered.
no, I'm not going into that, man. Listen,
Pass on
man.
the tour bus.
Listen, dude. Like, you got to have your eyes open, man. Like, you got to, if you say a question like that, then I start thinking about what's other people's pet peeve about me. I have an idea though. I'm not blind. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I also have to be real. So do I have a pet? No, I mean, no, I can't answer that, bro. Can't answer that, guy. Like, sorry, but like, I don't know. I think that the general response to something like that is that, did Gandhi have a pet peeve? No. He had to say to himself, why do I have a pet peeve? A. And B, it's probably coming from within, from some reason that I've got to work something out within myself in order to achieve like the understanding of as to why I have it. So I don't think that the answer is like, do I have a pet peeve about somebody else? I think that the answer is inward always. And I think that you have to like come to an understanding about yourself more as to why you have a pet peeve. Right.
Fair enough. Absolutely. For sure. When it comes to me, Dan, my question is actually just simple enough, just based off, you live in Chicago. It's where you're doing the interview from.
Yes,
and
sir.
It kind of got me thinking back again to when you played the Monsters of Rock live feed.
Yeah.
Because they did that in 2 locations. They did it in LA and they did it in Cincinnati. Did you do the Cincinnati location?
That's right. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool, man. That was well put together. I mean, their crew is great. The stream was great. It was just well run, in, out, do your thing. Back to Chicago, basically. I just drove out there,
Yeah. Dude, it's crazy, man. We did an interview with Keith St. John from Kingdom Come recently, and he they did one of those.
I saw parts of that, man. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
And I thought it was so great that Monsters of Rock did that for all of us, because it's been obviously crazy. It's like losing a limb, not getting to see any kind of live music. And it was crazy because Keith is actually the first one who addressed it on this show about the fact that Facebook made Monsters of Rock take down all those shows.
Man, that's a whole nother conversation. But honestly,
that's a whole nother episode.
It's a whole nother thing, bro. But like, I don't know. We're all trying to do our own thing out here. So the fact that they gave the opportunity for us to do that was what? Like, that was in the summer sometime, right? That was like June or something. The more of that stuff, and I know Stage It's doing some more stuff. I don't know if you know that company. They're doing more, kind of funding towards like the live, like streaming sort of thing. Obviously, there's a lot of catching up to do technology wise. Yeah. As far as like the latency is concerned, like, that's a big thing. Somebody's going to solve it and be a billionaire, by the way. Like, whenever somebody solves that issue of latency, even though it's a small, it's not huge right now, like P2P, right? But it is enough to make a difference in the way that, like, I can teach a lesson and I have to, like, via Skype or via FaceTime or via whatever. Like, there's still those microseconds. I can't do it real time, right? That latency it's not there yet. And the technology hasn't, maybe the technology, hey, maybe somebody in the comments knows of a technology that exists and can inform me. I'm not all knowing. I just know certain things. I know a lot about a little and a little about a lot, So maybe somebody's way more wizardry than me in that, and can inform us all as to how to get rid of latency. But I don't know of it yet. But,
For sure, brother. And the fact of the matter is, too, I mean, we can't also, the fact is, too, we can't sit here and take like pot shots either when it comes to that stuff, because we don't even fully understand, because we appreciate the fact that those shows were able to happen and they were able to get out there, because we also can't sit here and take like cheap shots either, because Facebook allows us to be the platform that we are and stuff like that. And we really are appreciative of the fact that they allow us to do this show. And
dude. I mean, that's
music fans.
For sure, dude. Like, I mean, that's like the more people that do that, like, first of all, I'm very appreciative to the people that put, like, you guys that have put in all of the effort to actually make this happen and put in your time every single week to make this go on. So Monsters of Rock included, like, they have put in the work. They made it happen. They built the machine. We were just you're just the cog. You know what I mean? You're just a cog in the machine. So, very grateful to them at the end of the day. And the more that people and organizations and companies that can do that, it's wonderful. It's good for everybody. We all get to see each other. We all get to play music. It's a win-win-win all the way around. So, yeah.
It is 100%. Well, fact of the matter is, Dan, we can't thank you enough for being with us tonight, man, and spending your evening with us, man. And one of the big things that's always been so important to us is like how you felt about your interview. Did you have a good time? Did you enjoy your questions? And did you feel that your time was worth it?
A lot of questions packed up into one. What I will say is, it's a lot of those, like 4 rapid fires.
Yeah, sorry, brother.
Don't be sorry. What I'll say is that, like, it's really good to, like, truthfully, like, I love seeing you guys and I love talking to you, man. Like, it's been a wonderful time. I'm really grateful that you've provided not only me but other people the opportunity to just get to sit down and talk about life, really, like, and just talk about art in general, and divest into some real shit for a minute, and like just how normal things would be. So first off, thank you. Did I have a good time? I'm with you dudes. Yes, I had a good time because you were all great people. Duh. So yeah, man. Like, I hope more people can just take a cue from you dudes and just, like, maybe call your friend tomorrow that you didn't talk to for a minute because of X, Y, and Z reason. Maybe reach out to somebody you haven't talked to in a while. I don't know. Spread positivity. That is, just be real and spread positivity and create great stuff. And let's use this time as a springboard for what's going to happen next year, because it's going to be, not to get like overly optimistic, but I feel like there's the light at the end of the tunnel. We're all going to make our way through this, and we're all going to have, whether it be 2021 or the beginning of 2022, soon we'll be able to just, I think, appreciate things a lot more. I think we can use this process to just really appreciate what we've got. And so again, thank you, dudes.
Absolutely, man. And thank you so much again for spending your time with us. For the Metal Summoners, we love you guys so much. Thank you all, as always, for being with us. Like and follow us on Facebook, on Instagram. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's where we put all of these interviews. Once we leave the air, we put them right over to the YouTube channel. So please make sure that you follow and subscribe to the Metal Summit on YouTube. And again, we thank the entire panel for sure, for Angel, for Jason, for Psycho Steve, for, at least when it came to tonight's episode, the Bobby Dreher.
Yeah, man.
My name is Jay. Again,
you guys rule, dude.
So much, Dan Hill.
Thanks,
and
Dan.
everybody.
You guys rule, man.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
so much, Dan. We appreciate you so much. Guys, make sure that you get out there
man.
and support the live music as soon as we get it back. When we don't have the live music, hit up their websites, check out their merch, check out their live music. Make sure that you're hitting this stuff up. But again, to all of you guys, Thank you so much for tuning in with us. Like and follow all of our pages. Our next guest announcement will be on Friday for the Christmas episode. We appreciate you guys all so much. Again,
Click the
for Angel,
notification
Jason,
bell.
Bobby, Psycho Steve, Jay, we appreciate you guys. Again, this has been the Metal Summit.
Yeah.